Hey, I'm Nick Von Brack, and this is the Record Podcast. Thanks for checking out another episode. Some bummer, bad, sad news for this one. It is a mini, and I'm sure there are a few of you who are expecting a legit interview for this episode, as was I, but just had some problems with scheduling, and it came down to the last minute, right down to the wire for trying to get this thing done. I actually was even trying to do it last night, and it just didn't work out. I've got sick wife, sick baby at home. I'm starting to get sick, and the scheduling just did not work out. But I've talked to him a bunch of times, and we're going to get it done. We're planning on getting it done for next week, so I'm hoping to have that up next week because I'm really excited for that guest. I've been listening a lot to his old catalog of music, his new album, which he was gracious enough to shoot over to me, and it's really good. So I'm really excited. It's one of those. Just like my last episode with Tom Dice via audio, this is another episode where it's a little personal hero of mine, someone who I look up to a lot in music and writes incredible songs. So just as much as anyone listening right now is interested in hearing that episode, I am just as interested in recording it. So I'm going to get it done, and as soon as possible. Schedule's pending. So apologies there, calling in sick this week, but life happens, so we'll get through it. Next week we'll have a little interview, but some really cool stuff has been happening even just this week in regards to the podcast. If you're friends with me on Facebook, if you're not, you can just find me on my own personal page, just Nick Von Brack. But if you aren't friends with me, I put out some feelers this week for potentially doing a live episode, and I had some people on Twitter hit me up and ask, like, oh, do you mean like record on Facebook Live or like stream it, or what are you thinking? And actually the idea I was having was, I listen to all kinds of different podcasts, and every now and then they will do an episode where they take it to an audience, just kind of like a live show, live music concert, if you will. So I've been snowballing this idea for a while, and wanting to build a little audience so that it would be a decent show to attend. And so I put out the feelers, and I've actually got a fairly decent idea of doing that. It would I'm not gonna divulge too much because I want to confirm details and get everything locked in before I really dive into it. But as it stands right now, there's looking to be a live The Record Podcast. We'll record the episode live in front of some people. It'll be at not really like it's kind of a music venue, kind of not, an interesting place. And it'll be in the Chicagoland area, and in the next couple months, hopefully. So I want to give enough lead time so that we can promote it, get people there. It'll actually also be a fundraiser for a local nonprofit too, so I'm going to try to do some good out of this. And I'll have a panel of guests, musicians, and we'll basically just talk about some stories, talk about our pasts and how we know each other, and then current project. Basically what this podcast is, but live and with multiple people being interviewed, and with hopefully multiple people in attendance. That's the hope, at least. So so I'm scheming this kind of all right now, and I'm getting really excited about it, and also nervous because while I have been in bands and in front of audiences before, I've also been able to hide behind multiple people and a drum set. So this will be the first kind of foray into being front of stage with other people too, to kind of help me not sweat through my shirt, but. Yeah, it's gonna be cool, and hopefully, if it goes well enough, then maybe we'll be able to do this. Do a live show every 2 or 3 months, and get some cool guests, and do it in a cool place, and just have a good little time, and raise some money for a good, local fund or nonprofit. But yeah, I've already talked to some sponsors who are willing to give up some really cool prizes to do. Basically, kind of like silent auction deal where people will bid on things, and all the funds will go to a nonprofit. I mean, I'm already giving away more than I even wanted to talk about, but who gives a shit? You guys are in this with me, so keep that in the back of your heads. If you like this podcast and you'd be interested in seeing seeing it live, and it would be a free event. It would be free, and then you just come and give your money to a good cause while you're there. That's looking to happen this year, so I'm really excited about that. And actually, along those very same lines, there's looking to be a future one. A friend of mine who runs a festival got in touch, and that's looking to happen. So sometime next year, looking to bring the Record Podcast live to a festival. So that's also very exciting. So just this past week, it went from having no live episodes to having 2 potential live episodes. So I'm really excited about that, and hoping, like I said, it'll be fun enough for people to come where I can do it more often. So yeah, that's some exciting stuff that I am excited and planning and scheming right now. So if you guys have been to an event like that, if you have ideas, hit me up with suggestions, ideas, any thoughts on that. You can hit me up on Facebook.com/The Record Podcast, at The Record Podcast without the A on Twitter, and Instagram, The Record Podcast. Otherwise, find my personal Facebook or Twitter or whatever. Hit me up. I'd love to get any ideas because I want to make this a really cool event that people will be able to have a good time at. But yeah, more details to come on that, and hopefully even more details in the next couple episodes. But we can try to do some record podcasty things for this episode, like what I'm listening to. So currently I've been bopping around on all kinds of random things, and the band I've been listening to lately is Primus, and even more specifically their album Antipop, which I know Primus is a polarizing band, not a lot of people into them. Tons of people are into them, what am I saying? But it's not everyone. It's not everyone's cup of tea. But if you haven't checked them out before, they have really good albums all across the board. But that one's a really cool one in the way of it being different and just being heavy and kind of more rocking. But I've been listening to that lately.
Like a head knows but one desire, like a head sets its skull on fire. Like a head knows no in-betweens, hopping on bags of gasoline.
Also been listening to some Saves the Day, and which not surprising, I'm a fan. But I've been going back into the old catalog. I've always been more later stuff, into their later stuff, and when I started listening to them, it was basically Stay What You Are and later than that. But I've been kind of diving into more specifically Through Being Cool, which I know everyone loves, but it's one that I kind of passed along and just always heard random songs from, but never really sat there and listened to it. I've been really enjoying that lately. And I just heard Dee Antwoord's new single "Banana Brains," which is right up their alley. If you're into that band, if you've never seen that band, go search them on YouTube. They put on a wacky live show, and they're also go see them live. I saw them at Lollapalooza a couple years ago, and they were awesome. So new single's good too.
Baby girl, you're so fine, so fine, you blow my mind. Look at you, coochie coo, juicy tushy, coochie goo. Booby one, booby two, bouncing like a Looney Tune. Booty booming, cookie juice, gushing out your coochie boo. You so cute like Pikachu, then no one so sweet like you. I was sad, then you sneaked into my lonely heart like peekaboo. Now every time I think of you, now by my side I dry my eyes. Just wanna sing lullabies to my little butterfly.
Other cool music-related news. Found out, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, Pinkerton by Weezer, my all-time favorite album, has gone platinum, which is crazy to think about. It's actually just around their 20-year anniversary of that album, and if you would have asked me how many albums it sold, I don't even know what I would have guessed, but I don't think I would have guessed platinum for that. And it just goes to show that sometimes good art can be sold and can do a lot. It just takes 20 years to do it. So, kids, get out there, follow your dreams, and hopefully in 20 years you'll reap the rewards of that. But that was cool. It brought a smile to my face. That album's so good, and it deserves recognition in all kinds of ways. So really cool there. And on a more somber note, and not music related, found out recently that one of the main guys behind Space Ghost, one of my all-time favorite shows, just passed away. His name was C. Martin Croker. He was the voice of Zorak and did a lot of other things on that show, voices and whatnot. So the Adult Swim, if you've never seen Space Ghost, which I can't imagine is a thing, but if you haven't, if you go on AdultSwim.com, they're streaming every episode for free. You can see them all, and just go through them, because it is some of the funniest writing or non-writing feeling show ever. And you'll see, like, when you watch that, what other shows have spawned from that, like the Eric Andre show, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, C-Lab, obviously all the Adult Swim shows in some vein, some way, touch on that show or get inspiration from it. But even just other shows that aren't even related to that. But it's easily one of the all-time best shows, and it's so funny, and I've been just dying laughing going through them again. So bummer there. Bummer hurts my heart a little bit, because that's one of my all-time favorite shows. So go on AdultSwim.com, go watch those episodes, and enjoy an all-around awesome show. I thought of a new little bit we could possibly do on some of these little mini episodes. But I was listening to the shuffle on the old phone this morning, and heard Dillinger Escape Plan, one of the songs off of Ironworks, and it got the gerbil on the wheel running in my head, and I was thinking, a lot of people, when it comes to that band, they've had a few different drummers. They're known for having they're all incredible musicians, but their drummers specifically, in my mind, because I'm a drummer. And I was starting to think, I wonder what people think who their best drummer is. And I basically sat down and just kind of looked at their albums and ranked them. And this may be a controversial thing to some fans, but so the drummers in order of who they had were Chris Penny, who was on the albums Calculating Infinity and Miss Machine, and some EPs are on there too. Gil Sharon, who was on Ironworks, that album only, and Billy Reimer has done everything since then. Option Paralysis, One of Us is the Killer, and their new album coming out. All incredible drummers, nothing against any of them. Easily some of the best drumming I've ever heard. But in my mind, when I ranked them, I put Gil Sharon first of Ironworks, then Chris Penny, and then Billy Reimer. And if you are a Dillinger fan, if you're not, check that album out, Ironworks. It is incredible. The production's just solid. All their albums sound good, but drumming even specifically, it's just such good drumming and such cool parts. Just like parts that I've heard that album tons of times, and even now I just can't even figure out parts that Gil is playing. And even on the other albums too, with Chris and Billy, all solid drummers. But I think I got to go Gil first, and that album Ironworks might be my favorite.
Fallen angel, I am changed. Poison runs down your veins. You would never save me, now you're again. Spoiled, rotten from within. Who clipped your wings? So useless. God, you cut down yourself.
I lean towards Miss Machine being my favorite, just because it was, kind of heard it at a time with good memories, and I always chalk it up to some good listening sessions. But I think when it comes to like just drumming and the production of it, Ironworks is just an incredible album. But let's make this a fun little debate. Jump on Twitter, hit me up about this if you have any thoughts, opinions. I'd love to see what you guys think about this stuff. And if you have future ideas for doing like debates, wanting to hear my opinions on albums, musicians, whatever, I'll jump in there too. I'd love to get topics. So yeah, tried to get some different stuff in this episode. Felt bad that this wasn't a proper interview episode. It was my plan all along, but we'll like I said, we'll get it going again. Get a couple interviews in a row here, and we'll be on our way. And I'll get more details for the live podcasts coming up in the future. I'm very excited about it. If you have thoughts about that or anything else I talked about in this episode, or anything about life in general, hit me up. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the good stuff. So until then, keep take good care of yourselves. Eat your vitamins. Drink your milk, or don't, because milk's disgusting. Just take care of yourselves. I got a sick family at home. It's that time of year where it starts to turn to fall and everyone is sneezing around the world. So get out there and eat an apple or a banana or something. And I'll see you. Well, I'm not seeing any of you right now because this is an audio podcast. Are you just finding that out, that this is an audio podcast? Because that'd be very disappointing if you pop this on and the whole time you're just looking for a video. But yeah, I'll see you guys next week. I'll see you guys next week with an interview episode and some future details about good stuff. All right, take care.